4 minutes out from the next reveal, guys. This is Toffees, and we're live. I'm getting some guests. We're gonna get this thing going. I had I gotta take off the what's going on. I was not prepared for this to happen, so we are doing it off the cuff, getting everything running. So we'll have some guests stop by. I know Charlie Monolith from EG is going to be coming by, and I want to get him on right away because his team is probably going to be featured here in just a few minutes. And then, of course, we'll pull in what is hip. I heard Cart Dota is going to stop by to maybe talk about some stats, and it's going to be awesome. Reveal of selection. So bear with me. I know I'm typing out loud and all this stuff, sort of like not as professional as I normally like it, but Valve did not notify this was going to happen ahead of time, so we're doing it. You're doing it. So let's get Charlie. Let's get Charlie up in here on the call, and then we'll start adding some more folks as we go along throughout the evening. I'm going to give Charlie a holla. Holla holla get dollar, as they say in some places. So that terrible sound is the sound of Skype as I reach out to Charlie.
Yo.
Hey, there he is. How you doing, sir?
Good.
Excellent. So we'll flip back and forth between you and...
Can you hear my, I'm doing laundry in the background. Can you hear it?
Not really. Sounds fine to me. Sounds okay. And we'll go back and forth between camera and trying out some new things, so it should be fun. Awesome. So welcome, Charlie. I think we got some other folks who'll be stopping by throughout the evening here as we sort of get this thing rolling. I was not prepared. Did you have any idea this is how they're going to do the reveals?
Nope.
Yeah, so catching us all off guard, but kind of a fun way to do it. I think it would have been really neat if they had put together a production team to sort of talk about it. I told my wife, was like, are you really going with this? I was like, you know what? If I had 2 days to prepare, I would have had like prepackaged groupings between each selection and like, you know, hey, this team just got picked, let's run a roll. But today we're just going to talk about them. So let's do that. VG picked first. Not a huge surprise for me. I think that we argue constantly about who the top teams in the world are, and we constantly list VG, Evil Geniuses, Secret, and I would say IG is sort of that sort of rotating top 4 position. Do you think that there's anybody in that grouping that doesn't deserve to be there or should be added to the top list?
No. I'm actually surprised that Vici was first.
Yeah, me too.
Since typically they do the previous winners first. And I did have newbie on my compendium prediction. I thought they were going to be first in traditional invite the previous champions. So if they don't get invited, I'm going to be super surprised.
Yeah, I'm going to be shocked. They're on my list too. We talked about some folks who were like, there's no way they don't deserve it. And I'm like, you know what? If you win the previous event in a tournament like this, give a shot back. I think I feel bad for them if they get in. I think that they're going to get stomped.
Wait, you feel bad for them if they get invited?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be embarrassing at the event. I don't think they're going to do very well. You don't think that would crush your soul a little bit as a player?
That would. Well, of course. But I mean, you're predefining the moment to you're predefining like their run at TI to be awful.
That's true.
So
that's fair.
I mean, by definition, like that. Yes, of course, that is going to crush your soul.
All right, so I'm going to flip over, guys, to the live screen so we can actually watch this coming up in 52 seconds. In the meantime, let's see who else we can pull onto here. So who do you think is going to be next in that list?
I mean, given the current trend, probably us. I mean, I hate saying things like that, but...
Right. But when
it's gonna be us.
When it's true, it's true. Like, what are you gonna do about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be Vici, then us, then I don't know, probably Secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think if I had to pick EG, Secret, and then from there there's a little more of a flexibility. Now, do you think VG deserved that first spot over IG, or do you think?
No, I think VG is a better team than IG, but I mean, like honestly, the order is like who the fuck cares really? It's just the order.
True. All right, here it comes, and the announcement is official, guys. It is out. It is live. I meant to pull it over so they could see your reaction, and I clicked the wrong button.
Hooray! I'm so surprised. LOL.
Hey, the manager for EG is here, and he sees them second up, so you're going... Let's be honest, Charlie, how long have you known, in your heart of hearts, that you're going to be a direct invite to TI?
I mean, I probably knew right after TI4.
Hmm.
There's no way I didn't see this team doing well and being a direct invite after TI4.
And then when would you say that you guys had it solidified? Like the players felt pretty confident. Was it after DAC, or did it take longer than that to feel like, or before even, that this is our spot, we're going to TI, this is our year?
After TI4 probably.
Wow, so they were ready.
I mean, we're hands down. I mean, we're the best team in North America. North America gets one invite. I don't think anybody really comes close. So, I mean, it's less of an ego thing as a sort of like, this is kind of...
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
That makes sense. Now, let me ask you this, and it's something that I think is exciting, and I think will be a storyline in TI, and that is the story of Fear over the last two, TI last and this one coming up. Were you guys pretty confident he was going to be returning and helping to lead Evil Geniuses to this TI from the moment that he had to sort of become a coach in the last one?
We confident. I think we felt like there was a pretty good chance he was going to come back, and like be healthy enough to come back. That is. But I wouldn't say like we were 100% in it. I mean, like health is sort of a thing that no one really has a good pulse on.
Yeah, you can't really mess around with that, and you don't know where it's going to go. It's exciting to see him back. I think that a lot of us who are fans of Old Man Dota like hated to see him sidelined before the last TI when he finally had a team that could sort of run with this thing, and I'm excited to see what happens in this one. Super excited. So EG feeling pretty good going forward. Let me ask you this, if you have a thought about it. And by the way, guys, keep in mind that this is, of course, a completely impromptu show. I was not prepared for this to happen tonight, so about 5 minutes ago we put everything together. Charlie was kind enough to jump on and hang out, and if we're going to have other panelists welcome to come and go throughout the night, so if you are interested in being involved with the panel, you get it with me on Skype, get with me on Twitter. We can bring you in to chat a little bit, and you can kind of take it at your leisure, because it sounds like it may be a long evening for yours truly. That said, here's an interesting question. Before that 11-minute name pops up, you said since to the end of TI last, you guys felt pretty good about going to this one.
Yep.
Why do you think it is that Zai and Arteezy were willing to take the risk of leaving to go to another team when TI was on the table? Do you think it's something that they were? It was a no risk because of who they were going with, or?
Yeah, I don't think they took a risk in terms of getting to TI. I think regardless of who switched between EG, C9, and Secret, all 15 of those players felt pretty confident that they were going to go to TI anyways. So
makes sense. So it was when you're the best in the world, it doesn't matter where you're playing, just how you're playing. Makes sense to me. So looking at that, EG, VG, the next one I think is going to be a pretty obvious.
I think it's going to be Secret.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're moving through the regions, so European would be next. Secret's the front runner. Do you think that what do you think makes them the front runner for that region? I mean, you could argue that their Star Ladder performance was not great, and some other tournaments they've been in have been absolutely dismal, for lack of a better word. Why is it?
They're still the most consistently. They're probably still the most consistently highest consistently placing European team, Western European team in their region. So they got third at DAC. I think that alone is probably enough to get them an invite. The teams that I think Starladder was probably a bit of a fluke. No, not so much a fluke, but they had a misstep. You're allowed missteps.
Right.
I mean, EG last year finished 6th at DreamHack, so I mean, you're allowed missteps. They've also done like really well in the past with their other rosters. They're all very accomplished players. They have the star power. I mean, I don't think if you were to power rank teams, I don't think anybody really looks at their Star Ladder performance and says, "Oh, Secret sucks."
Right. No, I mean, I can agree with that. the question, I guess, is that I'm trying to figure out why they haven't been performing as well as we'd expect. EG is an example of a team that, especially from DAC on, we can talk about. EG has looked clean and polished at most of your events. I know that you guys are boot camping consistently. When you go into a tournament, we see what we expect, which is a top tier performance. Secret seems sort of hit, miss, hot, cold. Is that because are they not practicing? Are they just saving it all for the big show? Do they not really care about the little tournaments anymore? I mean, it's a tough one, right? Because you expect better performances out of them.
Yeah, you do. As far as they are practicing. They did practice for Starladder. They did boot camp for about a week while they're at their Turkish director's house. And they did practice for DAC as well. I think probably some of it has to do with them still being a relatively young team in terms of how all of these players mesh. And then there's some probably I've talked to Artur about some of the things that he's told me some stuff, but for the most part, that's sort of their business, and I'm not going to air whatever laundry, dirty or clean, they have in public. And at the same time, I'm still an outsider, so any perspective I have on it could be wrong.
Makes sense. So. Respect that, not at liberty to necessarily say what's going on there. When you look at the teams, and we won't talk about Secret, so Secret's off the table. We're not talking about Secret right now, to make that clear to everybody who's listening. When you look at the general scene, talking to other managers, sort of seeing what's out there, do you think that we're going to see more stability after this TI than we saw after the last one, or do you think we're going to see a massive shakeup? Because the major system implies the need for stability, but it also implies the need for one big shuffle before the start of the system.
I think after TI you're going to see a shuffle again. It happens after every TI, and I think besides like maybe the top 2-3 teams, there's going to be a lot of changes because inevitably, like TI, like going through TI, performing, losing, winning, it's such an emotional experience that that when you lose, and you lose with these people, it takes such an emotional toll on you, and you're just like, I cannot deal with these people right now. I need something different. I need a change. Oh, good lord.
Just for a little while. I've got a couple other folks who are coming on, I think, throughout the evening.
Good lord.
Hey, Charlie.
I want to fucking leave now.
So, it's not that easy, dude.
It's not that easy. No, it's never that easy to just leave.
Good God, kill me.
So I don't know why Charlie's face is cut off in this frame. That's pretty funny. There it is. There we go. You're back. Again, guys, part of my production value, you know me, I love things looking good. It's difficult, impromptu like this. But and I also haven't done a panel with my new overlay yet, so we're sort of winging it. Guys, welcome, Greg. What is hip? This is Charlie Monolith. He is the manager for Evil Geniuses, by the way.
Hey, Charlie. Nice to meet you, dude.
So, Greg...
Maybe you could add me on Skype sometime.
Oh,
no, you're staying blocked, you fucking idiot.
You guys should be friends. You and your phallic mic that sits by your mouth and hang out. So let me ask you... I mean, that's all I see when Greg's talking. He's like, this mic's ninth right here. So are any of those two first pick surprises for you, Greg, or are they what you expected?
No. I mean, the only thing that was surprising is I feel like since... I think Charlie kind of mentioned this, but since Newbie didn't get invited, I feel like they might not get invited now. Wouldn't they be? In my mind, they would just be first, right?
I mean, that'd be the theory.
That's the working theory that I would be under is like, they won. If they're going to get invited, they get invited first.
Makes sense. So, but let me ask you this though: under normal circumstances, when the returning team has a chance at winning, that would make sense. Do you think that they're going to hold it for last as sort of a surprise? We're bringing them back possibility. I mean, because nobody expects...
surprise ever.
Well, nobody expects... I mean, everybody's like, they don't deserve... God, I hope they're not listening. They're like, fuck toffees. Nobody really expects them to be able to compete at the tournament. So if Valve gives them a coveted spot, that's a little bit of a surprise.
I suppose. I don't know. I mean, that'd be the shittiest surprise ever, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well...
I mean, coming on this show was the shittiest surprise
ever.
Oh
my fucking lord. I just came on here and you're just flaming me already?
Yeah, I can't fucking take you.
So, Hip, what's your pick for the next team to be revealed?
Either like one of the Chinese teams, or maybe it's probably one of the Chinese teams. Okay. I don't know. If I was Valve, I'd alternate.
Okay, you don't think they go Europe next and pick Secret, perhaps?
Yeah, I guess it could be like Secret or C9.
That would be. So
Secret,
there's
though.
an interesting question. C9, a team that is very competitive. We could argue that they are the absolute best at getting second place in the world, which is, well, here's the thing, though. They get a lot of crap for that, but at the end of the day, that's not, that's great.
I'd be pretty
that's
okay
phenomenal.
with getting second place at every tournament.
So we give them a hard time. They're very good.
Because you're not a winner.
That said, though, they have been together a long time with some shifts. They're an established team who has been working their butts off to make it here. Do you think that there's a possibility Valve gives them the invite, on the list before Team Secret, in the sense of we want to show that these sort of long-standing teams mean a lot to us?
I don't know if they think about it that hard.
Probably not. Probably not. It'd be nice, though. And I know that they had a shift at the same time that Secret had a shift, but you could probably argue that their shift sort of came off of the back of that initial one.
I think it's a possibility that C9 gets it before Secret does. I don't think it's likely, but could happen. They do have technically better results.
That is true.
I mean, LGD is a completely different LGD than last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
LGD is an interesting story because when we talked about
not
their
completely different, but mostly different.
When they did their shuffle, a lot of folks were kind of confused by it, and we had that Chinese episode where we focused on the shuffle, and a lot of folks didn't think that they'd be as good as they are. LGD is looking very strong.
I mean, how could you possibly think this team's not good?
Well, that's true. But I think
MMY, Xiaowei,
comparatively,
Sylar, that team's gonna be good.
Well, that whole region is stacked. I mean, this is going to be a very difficult TI in terms of those Chinese teams are going to be brutal at this thing. Like, when you watch all of those top teams play, they're good, and they're very, very good at what they do. Do you think this patch favors their style of play?
I don't think you can really. I don't think you can really lump all of those Chinese teams as having the same style of play.
I don't know this. I honestly don't know those teams well enough, like separately, to say.
And I think the patch is it's still so early as well. So, I think a lot of teams are still figuring out shit.
I mean, there's some clearly like.
I think every team is still figuring out shit. So like, there's no clear meta to be defined, and I think both me and Greg would be kidding ourselves if we felt like we knew the answer to that.
I mean, I can say like I've seen
especially Greg
broken stuff in this patch so far, but like nothing. I mean, there's some stuff that I think that like might need to get toned down a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, the patch is still so new that it's impossible to say.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's absolutely true. There's been some stuff. I think we can all agree that Admiral Bulldog is very happy with this patch. And it seems like it's moving us away from the insane, can't push high ground, force the rubber band sort of games that we kept seeing. What was it? We saw like 2 or 3 games in the last 3 months that were over 3 hours or something ridiculous like that.
Is my Skype lagging? Am I lagging or something?
No.
Who cares?
I think I'm just giving you a hard time.
All right.
So we've got 56 seconds till the next pick. We're going to see what that one comes in. I've picked Secret. Charlie has picked Secret. And Greg is waffled between a Chinese team, Secret, or Cloud9.
Yeah, I think it could be a Secret. That makes sense. Or Cloud9. I would say Secret or Cloud9. I guess if they're going to keep rotating regions.
It would make, if they follow the rotation system, that makes sense, and it sort of takes away are these invites going out because of specific reasons besides, who got invited in sort of a random system.
There's a limit on this open team qualifier. That's kind of weird. That's
is there?
There's a limit, like
1,024 teams.
That's good to know, guys. If you want to sign up for the open qualifier to play in TI, go sign up because there is a limit. Second, guys, after this pick comes in, we are going to get Toby on the line. Toby is going to be calling in from the Join Dota studios to just give some 2 cents and hang out for just a little while. So that said, here comes the pick. And it is going to be Team Secret.
It's Team Secret.
So, guys, the power rankings, the ELO rankings, a lot of them throughout the year have dictated Evil Geniuses, Vici Gaming, and Team Secret in sort of a rotating 1, 2, 3 position. What do you think if you had to rank these 3 teams? Actually, let me put the call into Toby really quick while we do that. And if you had to rank these 3 teams, what order do you think that you would go ahead and put them in? You're allowed to, you know.
I think EG is better than the Secret at the moment. I don't know how good Vici is, to be honest with you, but I think EG is better than the Secret at the moment.
What do you think?
I will not comment on this.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let's see. EG. Let's talk Secret VG. VG and Secret. Put them side by side. Who do you think has a better chance to take home second or first place? If you're Charlie.
I think Vici is a better team than Secret right now. Right now,
you think Secret could rise and like just improve dramatically throughout the process?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
this patch is like, I think when you have a patch like this, like, it's pretty easy for a lot of this stuff to change a little bit, because
I mean, honestly, between those 3 teams, we could all beat each other.
Yeah, like, I agree.
Like, I think it's way too early to really power rank anybody right now. Like how, or not power rank, but sort of predict how they're gonna do 2-3 months down the road.
Makes sense.
Yeah, TI is still so far away that it's hard to say what's going to happen at that point.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So I think we got Toby on here. Are you there, Toby?
Yeah, I'm here.
Here he is, the man, the myth,
I decided to
legend.
remain a cat in the window because I'm not actually in the studio.
I would like to see your face.
We want to see your reactions during these beautiful pics. There he is. Look at that. Charlie asks and Toby delivers.
Yeah.
Charlie knows I'll do a lot of things for him.
Oh boy,
that's cute.
Yeah.
That is cute. All right, guys.
Once you shared a beer in the world of beer, it's...
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so again, there are some faces cut off just a little bit here. I apologize. I did not have time to prepare for what we are doing tonight, but I thought, hey, why not? Let's talk about these picks. Toby, are you 3 for 3?
As far as my predictions go, I've actually got to stick to what I put on my pages. So yeah, I'm 3 for 3 right now. I'm not going for prediction of order because it's Valve. You should... Like, I don't know if they're trying to follow any kind of sense. It makes a lot of sense for the top 3, VG, EG, Secret. It's the top 3 from each of the regions. If they keep doing it that way, maybe, but are we trying to find a pattern to random generator or not?
Right.
Yeah. But as far as the predictions, I don't think anyone would have not included these 3 teams in their team predictions for TI.
So I think the only people that would not include them are people who did not recognize the Team Secret logo.
Right, and that's...
Or actually, who just don't follow... like Dota at all.
Right, people
people.
CS goers who bought the compendium for funsies, like Hip, for instance.
Even those people.
Shit.
That was good. That was good.
Oh
right?
man, dude,
that was really good.
I'm actually surprised the amount of anal ramage that's just been coming your way, Greg.
Dude, this is just standard shit, man. When Charlie like interacts with me, he either punches me in the dick physically or verbally.
Nice.
Just how it is, you know?
So
he's like the most abusive boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other. I mean, not that, never mind.
We do not have any of those relationships.
Nice.
Yeah, that just went down. That was not that. You know, that went down
check
the wrong
yourself.
way.
Please check yourself.
Obviously, Charlie, the relationship's just on Greg's side where he wants it to happen, and you're just like, I'm sorry.
Did all those dinners mean nothing, Charlie? Huh?
I mean, you kind of soured it with every stupid fucking picture of yourself you sent to me.
Wait,
wow.
did Greg give you one of the fear pictures in the bathroom?
No.
Oh my.
Yeah,
I just wish to apologize to all the kids I gave nightmares to for possibly the next couple of years.
Oh, good lord. Toby, as somebody who watches a lot of Dota and casts a copious amount, when you look at the top 3 teams here, do you think there's an outstanding favorite to win it all, or is this going to be a really good TI?
It's way too early to actually say who's going to win TI or be in the top 3. Like, no one would have really expected Newbie to achieve what they did during last TI, but they were able to because they went under the radar. You're able to have a team which didn't have a huge target painted on their back because everyone else was looking to VG or looking to some of the other bigger brands which they prepared strats for. And those teams got shut down while Newbie was just like, sweet, we'll just come through. Is that a bubble competition? Not a problem at all. We'll just pop everyone's and just go all the way through. And it's going to be the same thing when we hit TI5. We could take into account the tournaments that happened beforehand. We could look at ESL1 Frankfurt. We could look at the Summit. We could look at MLG Pro League finals. We could look at the new big competition down in China. You could look at all these different competitions, and then the main event will start. and every prediction you've got can kind of only rely on one thing, and that's how well the team is playing at the time.
Right.
And most of that's going to get revealed during the group stages. There are some obvious advantages, which is when teams have a large amount of depth as far as the drafting goes, and that just helps them, especially in this new stage of the meta. But when it hits the main event, it's all going to be about how many different types of drafts can you do that your team will feel comfortable with, that is able to counter the other drafts, which are becoming more of the tournament meta.
That makes sense. And I think
that makes sense.
It does. And I think that we can talk a little bit about drafting in general, which is a big part of Dota, as we all know. Do any of these three teams stand out to you as having the superior drafter? Because I think when it comes down to it, when we talk about that sort of expanded system, understanding the flow of the tournament, there's always been teams that sort of show up with new meta that just sort of blows everybody's mind in the first couple of days. Which, do you think any of these teams or all these teams are most likely to come out with that sort of thing?
Well, for me, I put VG and EG with a far superior draft to Team Secret, which I know is kind of taboo to kind of say when you got Puppy on the team of Team Secret with S4 and brilliant lines like that. But the reason why I kind of like VG Gaming is because they can think out of the box, but they perform out of the box very well too, and that's what I kind of like about their draft. They're not afraid to just feed that controlled aggression with also the tinge of insanity. While EG are the perfect drafters for counter drafting and just drafting really solid pickups. But what's more important with them is the timing of their drafts. They always seem to hit the mark right. And that's what I love about them. Where Team Secret, I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this way, but it feels like they sometimes draft themselves into a rut. So they get very similar drafts happening over and over again. And it can come down to experimentation. It depends what they really give a crap about. TI, obviously, you try and add as much diversity as possible, but with tournaments like Starladder, for example, like they had Zai doing the draft just to try something different maybe, or whatever the internal reasons are inside the team. It's hard to read right now. I'm just worried that they're going to become very stale and ban Prophet, ban Wisp, and their team is absolutely nothing kind of situation with Alliance could impact Secret. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen to them. Because if Secret steps up to the game, then China's actually got competition. Well,
and it's interesting because, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like Secret's drafted very cavalier in the last few tournaments. Almost we can beat you with whatever we feel like trying at this particular moment. And I assume that they'll take maybe a different approach when they go to TI. Greg, do you feel like they've been cavalier in their drafts, or do you think that it's just Secret business as usual, not afraid to get in there and get messy?
I'm going to look at the drafts before I say anything stupid.
Fair enough. Charlie, do you have any insights while he's looking around, or do you think?
No, I mean, not just looking at like the last 15
wow,
games.
way to cut me off.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest.
Fair enough. He's just waiting. He's just watching the clock for the 5 minutes.
Well. Somebody wanted me to tell you that they really like your hair.
Me or Greg?
Yeah. No, you, Steven.
You can't even see my hair. It's just a mass of black.
I don't know. He said he likes your hair. Either way, so the question was about what, Secret drafts, or who has a better draft?
Yeah, I said Secret seems like they've been drafting cavalier for the last couple of tournaments. Sort of we're just going to do this and see if it works.
To an extent. I mean, you could say that about Starladder because, I mean, they had somebody else drafting that wasn't their regular drafter during that time. So, I mean, you could say that's cavalier because they didn't really prepare that much for it. They sort of just went with it. So I guess by that definition, it's sort of cavalier. But I don't think that it's so much cavalier in the sense that they go in and they're like, this is what we want to play, and they don't think about sort of what's good or whatever. I think they do think about that, and it's probably less cavalier than maybe some drafters 2-3 years ago.
Makes sense. Greg, what did you come up with as you sort of looked around there?
I mean, just looking at their last 15 games, there's nothing crazy. I mean, there's occasional stuff that they maybe veer away a little bit from what some people have been picking, but nothing like super absurd.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's okay to, you know, sometimes you can get like free wins off of stepping out of the box like that. I mean, sometimes you get absolutely crushed, but
it seems like they don't. It seems like they don't care. Or I don't want to say don't care, but don't seem to have as much of a problem with that sort of getting absolutely crushed from time to time. I mean, the fact of the matter is they lost to teams 2 in a row that nobody really. I mean, it just didn't go well for them in that tournament. And
you're talking about Star Ladder?
Yeah, I mean, the losers bracket lost to, I think it was a team Malaysia that the losers bracket was.
They lost. Looks like they lost to Malaysia and Alliance.
Right. So nothing against Malaysia and Alliance. I think that they're two very good teams. But when you put them against each other on the books, there's not a lot of challenge in that. And Secret losing to them back to back was kind of a giant eye opener. Do you think that was a chink in the armor, or like we said, it's just too early to tell? It is what it is.
Was that a question for the Gurg?
It's a question for anybody who wants to answer it.
Let's
be honest. We're just killing time till we get to the teams that maybe surprise us a little bit.
I think the next 2 invites will be cool. But I mean, in regards to your question, I don't know. For me, like, I honestly don't put a lot of weight on what this team does outside of like extremely major LAN tournaments, because
I agree.
Not that they like don't care, but I think they put more effort into the big LAN tournaments. I mean, for good reason. And I don't think Star Ladder really qualifies.
I think there's a specific issue at Star Ladder that I'm not really going to mention, but I think that was a bit of an anomaly for them. I think everybody expected them to do better. I think they expected themselves to do better. But sometimes shit happens, so it's like...
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Flamerino. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So as we look forward to we can agree that I think all of us, that these 3 selections were sort of the 3 that we all expected. That everybody who is watching Dota in the world, who follows it, as Toby put it, probably had these 3 teams on their compendium. Yeah. Now looking at the next couple of picks, who do you think deserves... If we say Vici, EG, Team Secret are the top 3 teams in the world, who do you think deserves those next 2 slots? If we want to say those teams that look like they're 4 and 5 material.
IG
Cloud9.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie!
I agree for sure.
So all 3 of you agree IG Cloud9 should be.
I mean, those are the next best teams, I think. But okay. I mean, I don't know. If they go by region, it's possible that we get the C team here, which would be kind of neat.
Makes sense.
I doubt it though, because then like what, you want to blow your SCA team this early
I feel
on,
like that'll be one of the last ones they reveal.
Yeah,
that'd be my.
I would imagine it would be on
at least
the 2nd or 3rd line.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this one will probably be, if we follow some logical thought process, this one will be IG, the next one will be Cloud9.
That would
were there 2 wildcard winners last year? Only one.
There was only one.
There was one.
There was 11 invites. When this time there's 10. Yeah, so there's an extra wildcard winner this time around.
So I went ahead and pulled in Cart Dota. Some of you guys know him from working as a stat man for a couple of different groups. I believe he's with Join Dota. Most often of late, he's from the Standard Deviant stat crew. He said he's gone ahead and pulled up some interesting information on teams, and we'll be stopping in throughout the night to sort of just talk about the teams, where their positions are, things like that. So what do you got for us, Cart? You got about 20 seconds.
Yeah, well, one of the first things I want to talk about is, just EG in general. If you just look at the 6.83 stats, and 6.84 isn't really big enough to pull any, actual meaningful data from, EG, they have a 65.5% win rate. They have the highest winning since TI4. Credit to Nahas for tweeting that so I could pull that up. They won 4 out of their 8 LAN events, and 1 out of 9 out of 16 events on LAN or online. So, they have a pretty impressive track record. And, if you look at the other teams, Vici Gaming, second highest winnings after TI4, 766,000.
Pick is out, Cart. Going to interrupt you real quick because Invictus Gaming is the next one named. So it doesn't look like they're following the region pathing. It seems like they're going through top rankings here. Invictus, you said not surprising. Do you think that they deserve it over Cloud9? There's my question.
Deserves a strong word.
Do you think that Invictus has played better consistently than Cloud9? I mean, you could argue that Cloud9's finishes maybe make them look a little bit stronger.
I don't think they're more consistent than Cloud9, but I think they're probably have a higher cap than Cloud9.
Cart, breathe less hard.
Sorry.
In my experience, at least. I don't know.
I have a really bad mic.
All right. So that said, top 4 makes sense to me. 2 Chinese teams come right out of the gate, swarming into the top 4, looking very, very good. Do you think, gentlemen, that this is potentially the final 4 in TI, or do you think that C9 and maybe 1 or 2 other teams could be in that mix?
Who knows, dude?
I mean, right? It's hard because the patch just came out.
One of these teams could ease. I mean, I think all 4 of these teams will be very, very strong at TI, but not with nearly enough confidence to say that, you know, they're gonna be the top 4. Like, there's so much can happen between now and then. Like, however many months, it's a long time.
Makes sense. So let's go back to Cart briefly because I did bring him on to give us some numbers from the previous groupings. Let us know, bud, what else is there that we sort of can keep in mind with these teams for now, and then I think we're going to go to a call from the entire BTS crew who's driving back from Red Bull that wants to call in and give some ideas.
Holy shit.
So what do you got for me, Cart?
So basically, if you just look at Invictus, you know, it's not really surprising that they're invited. They won a lot of their games in 6.83, but they actually did not win a lot of their events compared to EG, who won 9 out of 16, or Vici that won 11 out of 22. They've won 6 out of their past 24 events. They have the 7th highest winning since TI4. This puts them behind Cloud9. It puts them behind Secret. It puts them behind Vici. It puts them behind Newbie, for example. They have the 5th highest wins after TI, Newbie, over Invictus Gaming. So I mean, they win a lot, but like, I don't know, maybe they choke on LAN, you could say, a bit, possibly.
We don't know any other teams who choke on LAN.
Even Rave has higher winnings than Invictus since TI, so it's like...
Now, and that could be...
They're still a solid team, of course.
They're a solid team, and that could be a byproduct of the fact that it feels like the Chinese teams are more picky about which tournaments they play in. They tend not to play in a sweeping cover of every tournament that's launched, so that may affect their win rates a little bit because, you know, Rave will get into any tournament that they can get their hands on to try and showcase their team. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, Corey brought it up. So while I get the transition between Corey and the BTS guys, let's talk about this real quick. Rave is a team that he just brought up. They're a SEA team that is pretty strong in the sense of they've been around for a long time. They've worked their butts off. They've had some visa issues. Do you think that they will get an invite over Team Malaysia, or do you think Team Malaysia is going to secure that SEA spot?
It's going to be Rave. If we look at the track record between those teams, I mean, Rave does have better results. The fact that their placement at DAC and their consistency throughout the year in terms of both their results in C and their roster is simply better than Malaysia's. They've been around longer and they've done more. And while in terms of if I were to power rank them, I would say Team Malaysia is the stronger team. But I don't think...
Me too.
I don't think this is like... I don't think TI invites are just a power ranking thing. And so as much as I think Malaysia is probably stronger, Rave has earned it. And it's if there's only one C invite, it's going to go to Rave.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'd be more worried about that, man, because I remember the old rules for invites to TI, and it was kind of, oh, wow, sorry, best mic in the world. And it
Hello,
was,
you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Sorry, Toby. I guess they're calling in from a cell phone, so they may not have been able to hear you talking.
Yeah, sorry.
But we have the BTS crew. But before we go to them, Toby, let's finish up with that thought before we jump over to the BTS guys.
Well, the older way of doing the TI invites was who would perform best when TI arrived. So that went 2 different ways. Like it was who you had faith in. So if a new roster came together, it would be who would be able to perform once you actually hit TI. And that might be the bigger question if Valve believed that Rave could perform well again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, seriously, you're running your phone across the ground. Yeah, but if Rave can perform well at TI5 and Valve believe in that, then yeah, they'll get the invite. But if Valve don't believe that, then I would be surprised if they got the invite. They weren't on my end list.
Yeah, I think it's a tough point. We'll get to that a little bit later when we do get to that picking. Who's going to be willing to stay up that late is the real question, but we'll get there. Zyori calling in. Who do you have with you in the car right now?
I've got Merlini and Coddle Dude.
Coddle Dude. So you guys are following along. I've seen some of you in Twitch chat, so you must be on your phones. VG, Evil Geniuses, Team Secret, Invictus. Are any surprises for you guys there?
I think it's a resounding no. What do you think, Ben? Are you surprised? No one's here surprised at all. We're all 4 for 4 so far.
4 for 4, and do you think that order is correct when you look at the rankings, or do you think you could mix it up a little bit?
I don't know. I think it's generally pretty straightforward. Do you think the order makes sense, Dakota? And
I don't know. They're all definitely in the top tier.
Yeah, it's hard to separate between the 4, but I think that you can make a strong case for top 4. We're more theory crafting who's coming up next, and the consensus seems to be either Team Malaysia, Team Rave, or probably Cloud9.
It's Cloud9.
So EG, Charlie's going with Cloud9. Hip, do you have a pick for next?
Cloud9.
Toby?
C9. They're the last. They were the two. Then it gets interesting.
Right. So after this one, it gets interesting. C9 seems like the general consensus. While I have you guys here, because I assume that the BTS guys won't be able to hang out all night as they are driving on a cell phone, let me ask this: we have a lot of guys who live in the North American region, and a lot who watch it. Who do you guys think is going to be the? Do you think we'll get a second invite for North America? I guess
absolutely not.
No, you don't think?
Hell no, dude.
You don't think you don't think Tinker's gonna get something?
No.
There's like a very small chance that Tinker gets invited. Very small.
I think Summer's Rift has a pretty good chance, but outside of that,
what? Are they even?
Are you joking?
He's troll. I think he's definitely joking.
They're not even on the list.
Dude, he was so angry that he had to cast more than one game of Summer's Rift. He was like actually raging in the studio.
Can I get Ben's opinion of Banana Slam Jamma?
He's alright. He's inexperienced late game, but he's a good player.
Really?
That's a fun assessment. Let me ask you this, and you guys, those of you who weren't at Red Bull, hopefully got to see the format a little bit since we have a couple of minutes till our next pick. This was a very interesting tournament, and there was some tweeting going back and forth. Charlie was involved with and me on how this has proven that Dota players would make terrible Survivor competitors. Because I felt like there was a lot of opportunity for strategy in this tournament, and just nobody did it. It was like, why aren't we? What?
So I posted something about this. Like, if those bottom 3 teams really were gamey about how they went into this tournament, they could have almost guaranteed that either IG or Secret would not be in the finals.
Right.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, they could have colluded to use all of their reflections. So
and then either IG or Secret would have had at least 2 losses. And then all that needs to happen between those three teams, they probably have like 6 or 7 chances to do this too, is just take one BO1 off one of those teams that probably would have been playing the most and would have revealed the most. All you have to do is beat them one time, and they don't make the finals.
Yeah, I think Charlie pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. There was a lot of options in the format to collude and do some cool stuff, and I don't think the teams totally seized the day. I also think the format is more interesting if you have more evenly matched teams. If you had all of the teams that have been invited to TI so far, plus Cloud9, you have a really good format.
I hate that fucking argument. The format would have been better if there were better teams. Well, no fucking shit.
Well, I mean,
no shit.
Statement. But in this
shit. I mean, that is like the most useless statement ever. Yes, the tournament would have been better if there were better teams. Come the fuck on.
So let me
say that about any tournament, but it's amplified in this format.
Yeah,
when you have a big disparity between the teams, it gets amplified a lot more.
Can you imagine the challenges with Envy and PPD there?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think the problem I have with this format is that even if the teams are more evenly matched across the board, you can still collude.
Yeah, you're encouraged to.
Yeah, 3 teams are still like encouraged to sort of gang up on 2, and it's sort of like whoever gets to the finals doesn't become so much about who wins more. It's sort of about who has better relationships with the other teams.
Or you never know, Charlie. There could be a spicy betrayal that gets heated up. There's a lot of options for a backstab too.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot.
It happened in StarCraft, Charlie. What's up?
I would love that shit.
Completely full.
So let me ask you this then. Any format would be better, according to Charlie, with bigger, more famous teams, maybe the top 4 that are already in it. What has to happen to get your team to show up at a tournament like this?
Wait, what?
Like, why weren't you guys there?
Because it's right before the summit. We don't...
IG was like, this will be a good warm-up.
Okay, that's IG, but our decision is that back-to-back lands don't really help performance for one of those lands. Like,
I mean, I think it's like fair to say.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we would rather focus on one. Like, we came into this, we used this time to really learn the patch and to practice so that we're prepared for the summit. I know a lot of these teams, like especially IG, Secret, Malaysia, they just came back from Star Ladder after the new patch hit. They spent so much time traveling. They didn't scrim very much, if at all.
So let me ask you this. If the winner's purse hadn't been 22.5 and instead was going to be in the ballpark of 105, do you think EG would have taken the risk and played back-to-back lands?
Nope.
Wow.
I mean, wouldn't you say that like back-to-back lands? I mean, this was not like the sole factor, but was one of the things that like killed the old EG. I mean, that's honestly speculation.
No, it probably contributed it.
Yeah, right. I mean, you think it did.
I mean, because when we came back from DreamHack and then we immediately had to play in the Summit, we were so tired. We played much worse, and that performance obviously contributed to like the friction that finally sort of culminated in our tour side leaving.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, and yeah, I agree.
Fair enough.
It's just like, it's like the same thing for me when everyone's like, oh, we should get like a team house. Like, team house kind of does the same thing. It just like magnifies any sort of problem that a team has. When you're together for that long, like you guys were together for like several months, right? Or like a month and a bit. It was a long time.
Yeah, we were together for like a month.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Okay. So,
okay, guys, we just made it home, so I think we need to go and unpack our stuff.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys calling in. If you get unpacked and anybody gets bored and wants to jump in, apparently I'm gonna be here all night because I'm finding out that qualifiers aren't even announcing for 2.5 hours. So FML, but I'm here because I love you guys.
How long until the next announcement?
Next announcement is in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So you guys better hustle into your computers. But thanks for calling in.
It's gonna be Cloud9, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Cloud9.
I think it's gonna be
Dude,
Cloud9.
I think first after this one though, I think it'll start to be more interesting. Besides, like, I guess it kind of depends how many Chinese teams you think are going to get invited, but it should get a little bit better after this one.
All right. Bye-bye, Gerg.
See ya.
Hi, Andrew.
So for those of you, I don't want to.
Never any question is Newbie going to get in? That's,
right.
I think that's
Dude,
the only question which like fucks up everything.
No, right? There's no way that they don't get invited first.
Yeah, I think they get in.
I still think they do.
The thing is,
but it's if Valve just sits there and goes, well, is it really the same team? They did change out 2 of their players that since they won. Had they won enough things in the calendar year of Dota, aka since TI4, to really justify it?
They won WCA, didn't they? One other shit.
Yeah, they beat Cloud9 in WCA. So they won that with their current roster.
I think there are enough.
I'm just saying, as far as looking at China and saying, like, should you then give VG, IG, LGD, and Newbie all direct invites from China, knowing that you're going to get another Chinese team coming in from the China qualifier? So you'll have 5 Chinese teams in total.
But could you argue that those 5 Chinese teams are among the top 10 to 15 in the world at the moment?
Oh, easily.
So it's an interesting. I think it is an interesting situation as far as who deserves what. We're 21 seconds away. Everyone who's sitting on the panel right now has confirmed Cloud9. Just as a heads up for you guys, later on in the show, I think we're going to have Jenkins from Team Leviathan come on to talk a little bit about what he thinks should happen with the American qualifiers. And we got some other folks lining up to do some panel work later on. But for now, 4 seconds left, so let's flip over so we can see that pick as it comes up live. And here comes the refresh. What?
Whoa.
Wow.
Hello.
Wow.
Or on Cloud9, not next.
That was unexpected. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit caught off guard by that. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's still a good team.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of when you get into the gray area, right? It's like teams that haven't really won that many lands or none at all, and you kind of have to like objectively just gauge their performance, even if they've never played against each other. I mean, you look at the lineup of this team, and it's fairly ridiculous. So I'm not surprised.
Just do you have it in front of you?
It's Sylar, maybe Yao, Zhao 8, and MMY.
So just for those of you who are listening, you're gonna get. I may podcast this, and God knows what I'm gonna do with this recording. That is a strong team. The question is, this puts 3 Chinese teams straight into the running right out of the gate. So we thought C9 because of maybe a bit of a rotation here. Do you think that that's a legitimate LGD is the 5th best team in the world as far as Valve's concerned, or do you think they just sort of pick some teams and toss them up there?
Impossible to say. I mean, they can probably say, you know, it's just how can you ever compare those teams? They haven't played each other.
You know what would be really sick if Valve purposely has C9 in this spot so they could be the second team on the second line. That was really bad of me. I'm sorry. Actually, that was really, really, really
well,
bad.
Not only would be
I'm actually ashamed. I'm actually ashamed.
They'd be the second. They'd be the second team on the second line, and the second team in the second column. Just saying.
I still think they should have been the second invite to TI. Like that would have been.
So I have a question. So someone messaged me something which is kind of interesting. So there's 2 wildcard winners. Does that mean that the wildcard is going to be 8 teams instead of 4?
No.
Wait,
You don't think so?
What did you say?
There's 2 wildcard slots in the main event now. So do you think it's going to be 8 teams that play a little bracket or instead of 4?
Or do you think there's going to be an open qualifier wildcard?
I don't know.
There's not going to be.
They're not going to bring in that many teams. They can't bring in that many teams. It was already bad enough with all the other teams they brought in that just stood around for most of the main event going, I don't know what to do, I've got nowhere to sit. How are they going to look after another, what you said, 8 teams to come through to play in the wildcard tournament?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4 instead. It's 4 more, you know?
I mean, that's a lot of logistics. So that's how many players are actually, how many people come with a team?
It's not like that Valve personally books that travel.
Fair.
It's not.
So let me take this chance to ask this.
Gaben's not sitting there with the phone.
He's not. There's no Gaben travel agency. Ice Frog Travel. Open qualifiers. So this is something that I had no clue about. Did you guys have any idea that there was going to be an open qualifier tied into the international? So for those of you who don't know and maybe are listening through other avenues, basically Valve just dropped this bomb on us and said that this year anyone can be in TI. It's a bit of a long shot. However, you can register through Faceit or Perfect World depending on your region. And I guess in theory a team is going to get a chance to qualify for TI. What do you think that's going to actually look like? I mean, do you win that and then go into some sort of weird wildcard playoff to be in the wildcard playoff?
No,
like it's weird.
The open qualifier just gets slotted into the regional qualifier.
Regional qualifiers, okay.
Yeah.
That's the other thing which chat is just graciously informing me of is it says 4 right at the bottom. So
it says 4
wildcard teams.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's an American Open winner, a China, Southeast, and a European. So it's one from each of those. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I think it's
hey man, if one of the open team could win. I mean, there's a chance that an open qualifier could win the NA qualifier.
Oh,
NA's such
I don't think
dude.
so. No, I don't.
Probably
think so.
not, but
no, there's. I definitely don't think so. I think there's a chance that if C gets 2 invites, there's a chance that the Southeast Asian Open winner wins the Asian qualifier. Because I think there's so little known about that region that who the fuck knows.
At the same time, having a team which has got the potential to win the qualifier, getting through a best of 1 style bracket open qualifier, that's a tall ask.
Yeah.
And some teams are just really, really bad at that type of format. Speaking as a guy who's watched a lot of them, because with like ISO Cup and Gigabyte Challenge and crap like that, wonderful things like that, it's really difficult for teams when they try and come through the open qualifier to just keep winning best of 1 after best of 1 after best of 1. One thing goes wrong and your entire game goes out the window. One hero that gets slightly out of control, one whiz tiny combo, and all of a sudden you've lost 2 sets of racks and you're out of TI. It's a really rough format to try and run a qualifier on.
Yeah, I think
you've got no choice when you got that many teams.
That makes sense. Absolutely. So I want to plug back in because we've had like the viewership has grown exponentially. Just to let you guys know that this is a impromptu, I don't know what to call it, an episode of Coffee with Toffee. It's just the overlays already exist, so we're using them. This is just a live TI reveal. We've got panelists coming in. Charlie, What Is Hip, and Toby have been gracious enough to hop on and give us their opinions so far tonight. But none of us, and I want to stress this, have had the time to sit down and do any sort of prep work on this draft list. This is just a casual reaction, sort of discussion about what it looks like and where TI is going. And I will say